Greeting fellow modelers, welcome to another weekend build number 52 in the Fiddlers Green series, presenting the Pfalz D.III. So here we have the Pfalz D.III. Beautiful model. This one is a plane built in 1917, a bit heavier than its counterpart. Here we have the wing strut, the fuselage, which is broken into 3 pieces. We have the landing gear, we have the central strut, the engine, the lower and the main wing, and of course the wheel. And to get this done, we have the instructions right here, as well as a brief history of the Pfalz. Now, here's where the beauty of this kit comes in. If you want to know more, you can watch this build. So for the tools you will need definitely an X-Acto knife, handle sharp knife, and to form nice good curves we have cake decorating tool. Not a must, because if you don't have that you can use your paintbrush handle. Scissors definitely needed, and steel rule. To effectively use the knife you need the steel rule. Aleene's tacky glue. This glue is highly recommended, and super glue. Now once you glue a spot and you want it to tack quickly and firmly, super glue. Tweezers, the gospel of the tweezers, definitely will help. And toothpick for strengthening your models and for just those compound things that you need to be strengthened. And of course your famous paintbrush. You can use it to roll as well as to form compound curves if you don't have the cake decorating tool, and the mat. So let's start by reinforcing the parts that will be cut out. This is what I've developed lately and I really love it. You get like a cereal box or a 1/2 millimeter thick cardstock, and you glue parts like the landing gear strut, the wing struts, the wheels onto this. Now what that will do is it does help when you want the thing not to be flimsy, not soft, and this definitely helps. Much better than if you just use a toothpick. So let's put this aside and let it dry. Now, the main wing assembly. We're going to first cut those edges off. Why? So that we can see when we put it over our steel rule. And just like that, we can fold. Now, we're not cutting off that edge, we're just squaring it so it can fold sharply. We cut that part out, and then we're going to put toothpick glued in the leading edge alone. So that way our model is going to be really strong. Fold over, and just like that, we have our main wing. Now, we cut the edges off, and we're going to now put the curve into the wing, just like the real deal. Nice. And just like what we did with the main wing, we're going to do the lower wing identical. What I've read about the Pfalz is a plane that was developed, the contemporary would be the Albatros D.III, but like I'm saying, this plane here was developed, it's a bit heavier than your regular plane, and it was very good at diving because of its heavier weight. And it was especially successful in destroying observation balloons. And even after the armistice, they still had quite a few. I think they said over 600 was built. For more models like this, go to fiddlersgreen.net. And for instructions how to build these, check out this YouTube channel. The stabilizer assembly, just like what we do with our other World War I plane, simple one too. We're going to cut it out, we're going to fold it over like what we did with the main wing, but this time around we're going to splice a strip of toothpick. Now once we do this, put a little glue, put it along the path to make it structural so it don't bend and twist. Glue the trailing edge, we cut that up, and pretty much we're good to go. You see how that works? Nice. And make sure that we press against a flat surface to make it totally level. So the rudder fin assembly, same thing. We're going to fold carefully, and once we do that, we're going to make sure putting the structure so it doesn't twist and curves. So here now we put glue, put the strip just along the vertical, and then we put horizontal just to strengthen the rudder area. Then we can put glue and fold over. Use a steel rule to press so it works. Cut the edges up because it's not perfect. This kit is really old, but you know what? It does work. Nice. And now we can deal with the fuselage. Now here's where we know it's three main parts. We're going to cut out, deal with the tail section, mid, and then the front. Put the spinner and the prop aside. We're going to cut out the cockpit area. And now you notice how I'm slicing twice where the stabilizer and the fin would go. We just cut those out. That's because of the thickness. It won't cause the back to twist. Then we use our paintbrush handle to roll. Just put a bit of a roll in the top and below. And then we check the alignment. Once those stripes are aligned, we pretty much can lock up everything. And then because we see the profile of what the model look like, we sort of squish it so it's oval. And here's the part that is necessary, but I hate. The joint tabs, we have to cut them out. We're going to glue. And now we're going to use our cake decorating tool to put a little curve in it. We do it to this and also to the fuselage for a reason. Put a little glue first on the bottom of the fuselage so that way we join, we check the alignment. You see how the area where the wing would be is? Once that's dried, we can now join the rest of it. And pretty much that's how solid it is. Use our cake decorating tool, press it out so that it will be level. Now let's deal with the front part. Get rid of the excess. And you see those tabs? What is being bent over now? These here should have been cut further because they're where the disc for the spinner and the prop would go. So remember, the profile is not round, it's pretty much oval at the larger end. So we're going to slowly put some bend in the main fuselage and also in the nose section using our cake decorating tool. Generous amount of glue, and then we carefully align the underside, and that's it. Look at that. Now that we have joined it, we use our flat tweezer to clamp everything down pretty much. Now we're going to cut the disc where the prop will go, and you see now I'm putting in the extra cut so that it has more of a round shape. I think this is a 1998 design. I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, probably even earlier. So this is hand drawn, and shout out to the person who did this. It's really a decent looking kit for that time period. Bend over the cockpit area, the instrument panel, and there we go. So let's start with the bottom wing and the fuselage integration. We put it in place, check the alignment at the back. You see how the center lines up? Put a little glue, and then we can attach. Just like that. And to hold it firmly in place after we check it is to use super glue. Just on either end, just to lock it in place. And check that it is level. Now that we have done that, we're going to now put the stabilizer and fin together. First, the stabilizer, and we're going to check and make sure it's level. Once it's level, we glue and then lock it down with some super glue. So that way it won't twist out of shape. And it's just a bit of a massaging we take with it to make sure everything is level. and right angle to each other. Then we put in our tail, her fin. Nice. Lock that up now with some super glue once we make sure that it is straight. And we check the alignment, and there we go. Lock that down. Nice. Look at that. Beautiful. So, engine. This here, we're going to, first of all, of course, we're going to score the parts we're going to bend, right? Put little crease in it so that when we fold over, it's much easier. Then we cut off the excess paper. Now pay attention carefully to what's going to happen here. Again, the kit is not 100% accurate. It's a fun kit. So we're going to have to modify this engine a bit. As you see, we lock up the engine. We're feeling happy. And then we said, we're going to put it in place now. This looks pretty good. And here it is now. I'm trying, and then the engine looks weird, canted down. So what I decided to do is to fold up those tabs, which would be glued, and we're going to cut those off and try and shape the engine so that the top of it will be level. We check, it's still down. So now we're going to cut just a bit off one side. So you see the angle at which I'm cutting? So I've made one end of that rectangle shorter than the other end. So that way the top of the engine would stay level. Put a little glue, and then I was trying it again and go, no, we need to take the front off and put a little curve in it so that engine will sit properly. And that's how I got the engine on, and it doesn't look too bad. Nice, just like that. So the wing strut integration, we're now, remember that thing we did in the very beginning? The struts what we had glued and put aside, those are what we're cutting out now. And pay careful attention to where I'm indicating we're going to put the struts. That's how we lock it up, right there. Beautiful. And then we're going to repeat the same with the other side. And once we make sure everything is level, then we get our super glue to lock up everything and make sure it's firm. Now, leave room for the fact that you can adjust the model height so that the struts will also stay in place, the outer struts. Here now, we put the wing on to check. That looks good. Nice. Now let's put on the outer struts. So we're gonna just cut the excess off. And remember, because we have glued it onto our cereal box and our 0.5 millimeter thick cardstock, it's easy for us now to make sure everything locks up good. Put it out slightly at an angle as indicated on the drawing, and then we super glue in place the struts. Repeat the same with the other side, and pretty much that's it. Nice. Now remember, we can paint up all of this when the time comes. The landing gear, we're going to treat it the same way like the struts, but we're going to put a little hole in the landing gear because through this, we're going to use a toothpick. So let's cut this out. Let's cut this other part out. Nice. We check the fit. Love to see. So we pre-check. That's what it's going to look like. We put our axle in, which is our toothpick. Put it out at a little distance. We estimate. Put a little glue so that we can tack into place. Just to have a rough idea where it's going to be. Now, once we figure out where the wing location will be, we firm it up by locking it down with some super glue. Then we can do the front, what's attached to the fuselage itself. And we check the alignment, and pretty much that's that. Nice. So the wheel and the skid assembly, we're cutting out the wheels. Again, this is from the cardstock that we glued on in the very beginning. We cut the center out because this part is what we're going to put onto the toothpick axle. And now we're going to form the curve for the wheel on the outside. So we cut these two pieces out, and then we're going to have to roll it. So I'm using my paintbrush handle. You can use pretty much even a toothpick. And now that we curve it slightly, we glue and lock up. So it looks like a really wide hat. So with this now, we can put it literally on the edge of our wheel. And because our wheel is thickened already by that cardstock, this should be easy enough. Simple 1, 2. Lock up into place. Do the same with the other one. Make sure that the axle is wide enough. Clip off the excess, and then we can mount our wheel on either side. That one goes on nicely. We clip the other side, put the other wheel on, check that everything is level, and then once we do that, we super glue into place. A little dab here, a little dab there, a little dab almost, no, not everywhere. And that's how it looks. Then we just do a scratch build of the tail skid. It isn't part of the kit, but you know what? It adds. We just strengthen that, and pretty much we are good. Let's go on to the prop and the spinner. So we're going to cut the prop out, and I didn't think about it, but we should have put it onto our cardstock in the very beginning. But you know what? Let's just do this now, get it out of the way. And we're going to treat the spinner pretty much like how we treated our wheel cap covers. So once we cut it out, we're going to use our paintbrush handle to just put some slight curve in there. You can use a cake decorating tool if you have it, but this works for me. And once we glue and lock that up, we're going to sort of flatten the cone on the inside. So we use our paintbrush tip, or you could use our cake decorating tool and do it. Put that aside. Let's do our prop and glue into place. Now, we could have painted the prop before we did. I didn't do it in this one, but you can. And then we place our spinner on. And that, my friend, is how we do it. Nice. Look how that looks good now. So you know what we're going to do? Finish him. Finish. Excellent. Mortal Kombat. Well, they did Mortal Kombat, huh? In World War I. So we paint now the edge of everything. Find the matching color. Paint the edge. You will be surprised at how much this makes your model pop even more. So if you're doing a collection of Fiddlers Green model, make sure that you paint the edge to bring it alive, because this is where it's all worth it. Nice. Paint the other side of the wheel and we're good to go. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and shout out to my Patreon members who make this all possible. For you, the viewers, to see this every weekend. Like, subscribe, leave a comment on what model you want to build next. And yes, I heard about S39. That will come one day. So until then, my friends, take care, walk good, one love.